decided we plan to be involved in several ways with the Gateway Center. So one way for sure would be provision of healthcare services in some form or another. So currently we have a group of volunteer faculty who go out, and it's far, you guys. She says 20 miles, it's like 35 minutes. And beyond the gun range, beyond the airport, it kind of freaked me out a little bit, and I don't have any trauma that I know of. So it's far. And I say that because I really admire our doctors and nurse practitioners who go out there once or twice a week.
So we are very committed to serving young people at the Gateway Center. We also know in conversations with some of our core partners who serve young people that you can't just build a center for adults and expect like young people, even young adults, to show up. So we have to be really proactive and deliberate and thoughtful in our design and planning from the very beginning. And we have to include young people in that in order to design something that they will actually use. And we are really fully committed to doing that. I think we've missed an opportunity as a community, regardless of where the Gateway Center is located, if we're not thinking about how we can serve young people at the Gateway Center.
I have like two main concerns brought to you from Joint Council, which is a council housed within the spectrum of UNM. So the first one is like, what kind of numbers would this facility be able to hold? And if you are catering to students, like would there be a specific student wing? And then the only other comment that I really have that was brought up at this council is that while it may be a very like sensitive location, it is a very good location for this facility, being that it's really close to various site facilities as well as buildings.
One, how can you ensure that this will actually improve, protect us? And two, like, what are your plans to actually just help security around campus with this whole plan?
But many folks are experiencing homelessness because they're just having trouble finding work. And it's hard to find a job when you don't have a place to live. So we're hoping the Gateway Center can, that's the kind of thing that it will be able to help people find employment quickly.
First, thanks to our panel. Thank you for sharing all the information. I know the administration's having these throughout campus, and there's going to be, I think, a survey as well a little bit later. And those are all good things for our city and hopefully for the university. So I'm going to try and keep it brief in a sense that I know everyone has either classes or homework or fun things that they're up to. But I am glad that I was able to come and say a few words, just a little bit from the perspective of your mayor. And first, let me just share a little bit. How many of you were born and raised here? It's okay if no one was, but I just want to check. Okay, a few, and been here like 5 years. Okay, and then some new folks. So let me just share a little bit about, when I was growing up here, I was born and raised here, and homelessness in our city has had a history of ebbs and flows. I remember when it was as bad, if not worse, than it was now. I also remember a time, lots of times, when it was nowhere nearly as bad as it is now. So both of those things are true. Both of those are with us in our history. And over the course of the city's history, the city of Albuquerque, we have dealt with homelessness in a very interesting way. We have consistently said that it is the nonprofit sector's responsibility. This has been the city's response for decades. We've said that faith-based communities, churches, nonprofits, your job is to deal with homelessness. And more recently, as homelessness started increasing, we now pay most of these service providers a lot of all of our taxpayer money to again administer those services. And they actually do a great job. They're doing all they can, and they're completely overrun and strapped by resources, despite the fact that our city spends about $10 to $14 million a year to pay them to try and do more. And they also have their own fundraising efforts too. So I just want everyone to know, like historically, this has been something we've really looked to the non-government sector to deal with, and we've supplemented it with funds. And as a result, though, we have a patchwork of a system. And I know Lisa explained this. We have a number of providers who are doing very, very good things for our city, but they're not connected with each other. And even geographically, they're all over town. They're up in the Northeast Heights in Barrett House. They're down in the South Valley at Joy Junction. And there's a few downtown. There's 3 or 4 downtown. And then, of course, we have our own West Side shelter outside of town. So the one thing the city does, right, is we operate that West Side shelter. And I want to remind you, if you didn't know, it's an old jail. This is not a good place to give people the help they need. It is a 45-minute drive out of town. Even if you want to volunteer there, there's no kitchen, there's no food. It is warm, it is safe, and it's clean. That's it. In our city, until our administration came along, only opened that at night and in the winter. That's all we did for the homeless population. Now, going forward, we decided to keep it open year-round. And so now we have about 300 people living at that site. But still, because of sort of this old way, we only have, it's still only at night. So we bus people in first to sleep, and then we bus them back in the morning to try and get services. And to no surprise, right, where's the drop-off point? Coronado Park. That's why there's so many people at Coronado Park. This system has evolved. No one designed this. No one thought this was the optimal solution. This is just where we have come with a patchwork of ideas. And it's also on top of that, there's like a bunch of one-off programs that might help 10 people, and that's great. But as you heard, we have about 5,000 people when it comes to homelessness, and it's growing at 500 a year. So we, I believe, have to do more. We have to do something as a community that is much bigger than we've ever done before. And it's just the emergent reality. It is what it is. We have lots of homeless folks. We have a choice. Keep doing the same thing while this problem gets worse, or we can try and do something big that will actually at least try and make a difference or change that curve for a large number of people's lives. That's what this Gateway Center is all about. This Gateway Center is simple. It's just trying to say that if you need help and you want shelter or you want food, you can actually go to one place where there is no gate. It doesn't matter if it's the weekend, it doesn't matter if it's the evening, it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, because a lot of these shelters are separated by gender. It doesn't matter if you're a family. It doesn't matter if you're intoxicated. It doesn't matter if you're high. There's somewhere where you can get help. That does not exist today. If you want services on Sunday afternoon, good luck. There's a few if you can find them. There is nowhere even close to 5,000 sets of services available on the weekends, even less at night, which is why we have this West Side shelter problem. So the idea with this is it's not a fix-all to every problem, but we believe it is the beginning of an answer to all those larger problems, all the services, all the addiction and treatment that people need. They need a front door to walk into and then be supported and helped and safe and warm and fed while we can find them either job training, housing placement, addiction and treatment. These are the things that we're trying to provide at this Gateway Center, not for the full time at the center, but to get them out to the existing providers, the experts who already know how to do this. So it's just a sorting mechanism, a clearinghouse. But we've got to have this in our city. And I would argue today that if we do not do this in Albuquerque, we will never make a dent in the current homeless challenge, nor hold back the increasing challenge that is happening all around us. Because for better or worse, as UNM and as Albuquerque, we are the center of a 1,000 square mile region. Anywhere between Phoenix, Austin, Denver, and El Paso, guess who gets everyone when it comes to healthcare? Guess who gets everyone when it comes to the airport? Guess who gets everyone when it comes to, in many ways, education, if you're not getting educated at one of the many branches? Or just to shop at Coronado Mall or Cottonwood Mall. Everyone comes to Albuquerque, and it's no different for the homeless or for folks dealing with difficult issues in their lives. So this is a responsibility that we have. This is, whether we like it or not, it's Albuquerque's responsibility. So we put this on the ballot, and voters agreed with us. They said, yes, it's time to take responsibility, and they wrote us a check, $14 million. And they said, you figure out what to do. And that's what we're trying to do here together. So let me speak briefly about the location. As you know, we're looking at a lot of locations. This location out kind of behind OMI and back there by the parking lots, way over there, this location has some value. I'm not saying it's the top location, we're going to score this, but we know it's very good for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's near the hospital, which is where a lot of these folks often end up. Number two, there is a way where we can actually get people in and out in a shuttle. So we do not want this to be a walking situation, but we believe we can shuttle people in and out using existing roads and things of this nature. We also know that it's centrally located within the city of Albuquerque, and that's important because these providers are all over town. So there are some really inherent advantages. Also, it's empty land. And so that means the cost is less, and we can construct this sooner. So we believe there's a clear mandate. That's actually not really a belief. There's a clear mandate to do something soon to help these homeless folks in a way that we haven't been before. And the fastest way to do that is with vacant land. It's also cheaper. We only have 14 million. Believe it or not, that is not a lot of money to try and provide the kind of services that we want to do. So for all those reasons, this location scores very high. It looks good, which is why we're here. Now, I do want to mention that public safety is by far our number one priority. In fact, it's the only priority above dealing with homelessness at the city right now. And so I want to respect the concerns and the questions about public safety. But I also want you to know that hopefully as your mayor and even the administration, I would never suggest an idea that I thought would impact public safety on campus. And I want to articulate what I believe is a myth. And I don't know how prevalent it is or not, but I do not believe that a facility of any kind, whether it's a gateway center, whether it's 50 beds or 300 beds, and we are looking at, typically we're looking at a much smaller model, hopefully, but we'll see where it goes. It's far enough from campus, and it's isolated enough, and with intelligent design and a shuttle system, I do not anticipate foot traffic through campus, nor do I anticipate a safety impact on campus. Now, I'm not an expert in any of this, but I do have a good team who researches this. We do have APD, and APD believes this as well. As challenged as the public safety issues are on campus, I actually would argue this will help. We have to have somewhere to take the individuals who are in need, who are challenged out on Central and out at that end of campus. We have to have somewhere to take them to get them help. And it has to be close by. That's what this fulfills. So I hope that in no way people think that this is actually going to increase challenges on campus, because I do not believe this is a student campus issue. It is a university land issue. That is true. And of course, there are neighbors out there like the Cancer Center and so forth who rightfully have an opinion. But that's just from my perspective. That's how I feel about the impact on public safety. This is part of the answer. And it's part of helping people, and it's part of reducing the public safety challenges when they do cross over. The second thing is, these are people. And I want to emphasize this. These homeless individuals, thank you. They have a population range of diversity that pretty much mirrors the rest of us. Some of them are hard on their luck and they need a job. Some of them are addicted and they need help. Some of them have mental illness challenges. Some of them are with families. Some of them aren't even really homeless. They just don't have a consistent home. They're couch surfing or going from place to place because they have nowhere for a number of reasons that happened a long time ago. They can't get a down payment or they can't get a loan. All these other institutional barriers that prevent them from actually restabilizing. Layer on top of that things like institutional racism and the fact that most of these folks are Native American. They can be Hispanic, again, all walks of life. They are facing layer and layer of challenge upon them. This is something we have to help and we have to respect. These people are not inherently dangerous. Being homeless is not a crime. And I want us to remember that while we have the right to feel safe, they also have the right to feel safe. And they have the right to access services and help. So I think with that, let me just wrap up by saying, I think Albuquerque also needs your help. You know, for us, I believe us living together, when I say that, I mean UNM and Albuquerque. Obviously, we're all in this together. We're one Albuquerque, as we like to say. And as being part of one Albuquerque, there is a shared responsibility. We have stepped out and we have said we have to do more for homeless in a way that matters. And we have owned that from day one, and thankfully the voters have given us that mandate to actually do that. But we cannot do this alone. The city needs help, and I believe that it is part of the university's responsibility to help. I believe it's part of all our responsibility to say, what can I do, even if it's something small? What can I do to be part of the solution, instead of just trying to wait for someone else to do something, or wait for some other study, or wait for us to see what's going to happen next year. You know what's happening next year? We have 500 more homeless people on the street. So I don't want to wait any longer, but I need help. We need the university's help. We need access to this land to use it in a way that will help homeless folks. The rest of it we can decide in terms of details of size and fences and security and all of this other stuff. I know we can work around that. But I need a commitment to be part of our community. It's a two-way street to share this responsibility. So I'm asking you as students, no matter how you feel, as you think about this issue, as you talk about it, try and sort through some of the myths and the facts, and try and think about ways to be a part of the solution, even if it's a different solution. We are totally open to that. But at a minimum, I just want us to remember that we're all in this together, and that it's time to take action. We cannot wait any longer on this issue. And the city is there with you. Now we just need you to join us. So with that, thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you.